Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Yesterday, we started our new unit in our history, that is Rural Life and Society. In that, we discussed about some general objectives. We discussed about the land revenue policy under the British, that is permanent settlement, Riyotwari system, Mahalwari system, and we discussed about the features, merits and demerits of permanent system, Riyotwari system and Mahalwari system. Today we are going to discuss about the peasants revolts. Actually the peasants, they started to revolt against the Britishers for the land revenue policies they followed. So in this page we can see the names of the various revolts uh, by peasants: Sandal Rebellion, Indigo Revolt, Pabna Revolt, Deccan Riots, Punjab Peasant Movement, Champaran, Kheda and Bardoli, three satyagrahas, and Mopla Rebellion. These are all the various revolts of the peasants against the British government. So the British rule in India, it brought many changes in the agrarian system. The old agrarian system was totally collapsed under the new system. So the ownership of land was given to the zamindars. So they tried to extract as much as they can from the cultivators. So the life of the peasants, it became very miserable. So the various peasants movements and uprisings during the 19th and 20th century were in the nature of protest. So many peasants, they started to protest, oppose the Britishers and as well as the zamindars. So in that first one, we are going to discuss about the Sandal Rebellion. It took place between the year 1855 to 1856. Actually, the first revolt, this was considered as the first revolt by the peasants. So the land near the Rajmahal, hills of Rajmahal in Bihar, those areas were cultivated by the group of people called Sandals. So what happened? The landlords and money lenders, they will be residing in the cities, and they will be collect tenants. These peasants will be considered as the tenants, and they have to pay amount for cultivating their lands. So these landlords and money lenders, they these people, the peasants are not aware of certain laws and rules. So they exploited, landlords and moneylenders, they exploited and they make use of the ignorance of the peasants, and they started to grab their lands. So around 10,000 sandals, they gathered together. They gathered together and they arraised. Uprising was started in the year. They started to uprise against the government in the year 1855. So around 10,000 sandals, they gathered under two Sandal brothers, namely Sidhu and Kanhu. So they wanted to free their country from the Britishers and set up a government of their own. So because of this, so you can see in this picture the rebels. Group of these people were called as Sandals, who rebelled against the government. So how they, what they did know, the houses of the European planters, British officers and engineers, the people those who belong to the upper class, especially zamindars and money lenders, these people were attacked by the group of Sandals, and uh, the rebellion continued till February 1856, when the rebel leaders were captured and the movement was put down with a heavy hand. Next one, Indigo Revolt. This Indigo Revolt, it started in 1859 and it ended in 1860. So what happened? The European indigo planters, they were compelled the farmers, those who were tenants in their land, to grow indigo. But cultivating indigo, it created lot of disadvantages to the farmers. They refused to cultivate indigo. So the Bengal indigo cultivators strike was the most militant and widespread peasant uprisings. So the European indigo planters, they compelled these tenants to cultivate indigo. So this revolt was led by Digambar Biswas and Bishnu Charan Biswas. So these two people were the main riots of the Nadia district, and they decided to give up indigo cultivation in 1859. So during this revolt, factories were burnt down and the revolt spread. So to take control of the situation, the government set up an indigo commission in 1860. So the indigo planters of Bengal, however, they moved and they settled in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. So in this picture, you can see. So these people, they started to settle in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, and because of the result of this Indigo revolt was the government set up an Indigo commission in 1860. Next one, Pabna revolt. This revolt took place between 1873 and 1876. Actually, this Pabna peasant uprising was a resistance movement by the peasants, especially against the zamindars. So, against the zamindars only this revolt started, and it started in Yusuf Shahi Pargana of Pabna in Bengal. Pargana is nothing but group of villages are called Pargana. So this this revolt originated in the Yusuf Shahi Pargana of Pabna in Bengal. So the zamindars routinely collected money from the peasants by illegal means. So peasants started to rise against them, and this revolt, it was led by Keshab Chandra Rai. And in this revolt, a large group of people, they gathered together and they marched. They started their procession towards villages. Their aim is to, they want to make the zamindars frightened, and they called many peasants to join with them. So during this movement, no, the riots, the peasants developed a strong awareness. They created lot of awareness among the people regarding law and their legal rights, and their ability to combine and form association for peaceful movement. So the struggle gradually spread throughout Pabna, and then to the other districts of East Bengal also. So everywhere agrarian leagues were organized for the benefits of the peasants. So there were little violence in this revolt, and some people, they involved in looting of the zamindar houses, and in some places they attacked the police station. So in some places, zamindars and the agents, those who were acting as agents for zamindars, were seriously injured. And as a result, it created lot of awareness among the people regarding law and their legal rights. Next one, Deccan riots. Deccan riots, it started in the year 1875. So the peasants, they started to revolt against the Britishers as well as the Zamindars and Manilandas, and it started in the district of Pune. and this event was called Deccan Riots. So it started in a village in Pune district, and in 1875 the peasants revolted. The peasants revolted primarily against the moneylenders who started to grab their lands. So the uprising started in a village in Pune district. So what they did know, the uprising, when the village people forced out a local moneylender from the village and captured his property. These people, they started to revolt against the zamindar and the money lenders. They selected one person and make him to get out from the village, and they grabbed his property also. So gradually this uprising turned into violent when the Sahukars took help of the police. So they started to rise against 33 villages participated in this revolt, and they raised against the Sahukars also, Marwari Sahukars, who were collecting lot of interest and exploiting the peasants. These Sahukars, they started to get the help from the police. So these peasants, they became very angry, and it resulted in passing of the Deccan Agriculturist Relief Act. So through this act, some of the problems and troubles of the peasants became less. So some of the serious problems of the peasants came to an end through this Deccan Agriculturalists Act. Next one, Punjab Peasant Movement. It started in the year 1890 and it ended in 1900. So the peasants of the Punjab, they opposed and they want to prevent the alienation of their lands. The money lenders, if the farmers they fail to pay the debts, these money lenders they started to grab their lands. So the peasants they started to raise against the money lenders especially, and the British India did not want these people to involve in the revolution, because in those days most of the soldiers will belong to Punjab. The most of the soldiers, those who were the part of the British government, belong to Punjab. So they don't want Punjab to involve in the revolt. So many people they rise against the urban money lenders. So, but what did no Britishers, they themselves, they wanted to protect the peasants of the Punjab. So they passed the Punjab Land Alienation Act in the year 1900, and through this act, restrictions were imposed on the sale and mortgage and auction of the land from the first category people to the low category people. So zamindars, money lenders were considered as the first upper class people in those days. So through this act, peasants were saved. Next one, Champaran Satyagraha. It was started in the year 1917 and it ended in the year 1918. And through this, the European planters of Champaran is the name of a place in Bihar. So they started to rise against for inhuman methods of indigo cultivation. So the Britishers, the European planters, they compelled these people to grow indigo at a cost which was wholly unjust. So they couldn't bear the cost which is needed to cultivate indigo. So they started to rise against them. So under the Tin Katia system in Champaran, the peasants were bound by law to grow indigo. That is 3 out of 23 part should be of their land and sent the same to the British planters at less price. So Mahatma Gandhi took up this issue into a serious thing. The government appointed an inquiry commission of which Mahatma Gandhi ji was also a member. So the grievances of the peasants were inquired and at last the Champaran Agrarian Act was passed. So in this picture, you can see Mahatma Gandhi. He played a very important role in this, and the government appointed an inquiry commission. I told you. So grievances of the peasants were inquired, and at last, as a result, Champaran Agrarian Act was passed in the year in May 1980 to overcome the problems of the peasants. Next one, Mopla Rebellion. Mopla Rebellion, it started in the year 1921. The Muslim Mopla peasants, these people, they lived in the Malabar region of Kerala. They were exploited by the Hindu zamindars and also by the British government. So in August 1921, the Mopla tenants they started to rebel against the zamindars. So in the initial phase of the rebellion, the Mopla peasants they attacked the police stations. Mopla peasants they attacked the police stations, public offices, communications, and also houses of the landlords and the money lenders. So, according to an official, also it was estimated that many people were killed because of this rebellion. More than 2,337 Mopla rebels were killed and 1,650 wounded, and more than 45,000 people were captured through this revolt. So by December 21, the government ruthlessly suppressed the Mopla rebellion and many people lost their lives through this. Many people were captured, you can see as prisoners in this revolt. You can see in this picture. Next one, Bardoli Satyagraha. It took place in the year 1920 and it lasted till 1930. So in 1928, the peasants of Bardoli is the name of a place in Gujarat, they started to race against the Britishers under the leadership of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So in protest against the government's proposal, so the government they decided to increase the land revenue by 30%. So to oppose this, many peasants they refused to pay the taxes. So they started to revolt against the government. So in 1930, the peasants of Bardoli they refused to pay the taxes. So they faced auction sales and the eventual loss of almost all of their lands. But they refused to submit the land to the government. But after at last what happened? No, all their lands were returned to them when the Congress came to power in 1937. These people they got back their lands. Okay, children, we discussed about various revolts of the peasants against the Britishers, and we discussed about the various land revenue systems of the British also. Okay, thank you, children.